Alright, today we're going to be going over substrings in Python. In the last video, we went over the modulo operator, in which we were able to find the remainder after dividing two numbers. So now we're going to explore what a substring actually is. Before actually explaining what a substring is, there's one thing that I want to point out, and this is a quick Python concept. So over here in my IDE, I put a comment. So the way we make comments in Python is with the hashtag symbol, and you give us and then anything after this hashtag symbol is considered a comment. So here you see this green highlighting after putting this comment. So this is a comment, and you see everything after this is green. And basically, what this is how a comment is formatted. If I give a new line and say something like print hello world, you see this is not in green. So that's basically what a comment is. It's basically, as the name implies, we're able to comment our code as to whoever's looking at our code can get a sense of what this program is actually doing. So, for example, you could say this is a print statement, and it'll be available for us or anyone else to see what this program's purpose is. The program won't actually consider this comment. It's only for us to see. So let's run this and see that this is not going to be considered. It's only this. So this is basically a way for people to know what our program is doing. So if I had another line, now there's not really such thing as multi-line comments in Python, but a quick tip to actually do this if you want if you want to highlight make more than one line a comment, then what you basically do is highlight those lines, and then you could do a key combo. So control slash, which will make them both of them a comment. See, here's a hashtag and the comment here, hashtag and comment here. So that's like basically what a quick way is to make comments. They aren't necessary, they're just there if you have any complex program and people won't be able to know what the program is doing, then it's pretty useful to put those comments. So that's just one thing I wanted to go over fast. Now we jump into an important topic. What exactly is a substring? So to make it clear, it's basically taking a part of a string uh, within a whole string. So that might not make sense, but let's bring up an example. So substring, for example, this is a string. Strings can be words we see around us every day. So words like hello, words like world, they're all strings. So here we have the string because it's a word. Or a string, as you recall, is basically an ordered sequence or sequences of characters, right? These characters make up the string. So we have the word substring. And now we come to what exactly a substring is. So, for example, you're taking a part of a string. So in this case, you can say sub. So sub in this case, you can say it is a substring because this string is part of the entire string substring. And that's basically what a substring is. It's basically taking a part of the string. So any set or any certain ordered sequence of characters. So in this case, SUB, this is a string, but we're taking this string as part of the entire string. And that's basically what a substring is. So to actually demonstrate the notation in Python, let's now create an example. Let me create a variable, string n, and let me set a value of, alright, this is CS50, and CS50 is an amazing course. So alright, this is CS50. So this is a string. This is an ordered sequence or sequences of characters. So characters can include letters, it can include punctuation marks, it can include even white space characters. So that's the important thing to know. I would usually mix it up by saying they're ordered sequence or sequences of letters, but that might not always be the case since you can also have white spaces. So the more correct way of saying it is ordered sequence of characters. So this is what we have here. This is a string, and this is stored inside a variable called string n. So the first step we actually want to go into taking to understand what a substring is first indexing into a string. So the way we index into a string is pretty similar to how we index into a list. So recall in a list we had to do the name of the variable, and then in square brackets the number which indicates the index. And as a reminder, you start your index at 0. If you wanted to access the first, then you have to start at 0. So string n, and in square brackets, the number specifying the index. So if you want to access, in this case of strings, if you want to access the first character a of the string, then you would do string n and in square brackets 0. And this is quite similar to a list. When you want to access the first data item, you do this. Similarly to that, if you want to access the first character of a string, then you do string n and in square bracket 0. So now let's run our program and see that we have an output of a. Uppercase A comes from the first character. So you can think of each of these characters as one data item when it comes to a list. And now if I change this to 1, we should hopefully see the output of the second character of the string, which is lowercase l. So we see the output is lowercase l, right? Now, the next step we've been waiting for. So how exactly does a substring work? So if we carry off of this, it's kind of a similar format to actually indexing into it. So the addition we need to actually add is a colon and then some number. So in these square brackets, recall we had a 1, which is L, right? And then the addition to actually the substring part of the substring notation is to actually have a number colon and then some number. So in this case, I'm going to just say, for example, a number like 4. This is how a substring is. So we have the variable name, recall we have earlier, and in square brackets we have a number and colon some number. So let me run this and see what the output is. So we have LRI. Let's actually break this down step by step to see what is actually happening here. So the important concept here is before the colon, this is the start index of the substring you're trying to take from the string. And what comes after this colon is the end index of where you want the substring to end exactly as part of this whole string. So we have this whole string here. The start index basically is L, right? Like how we index into a string, it's kind of like works the same way here when you're substringing into a string. So it starts at index 1. So here's the starting of our substring, which is L. And we do indeed see it's L as the first character of our substring, and colon, and we have 4. So now let's make a comment and keep note of the count of the index. So, and recall these comments won't be considered by the program, so it's only for us. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so if we count this up, so 0, 1, we see 1 here. 1 corresponds to this L index. The first index corresponds to L in this whole string. So L, we see the outputs here. Now let's count up our way towards 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you see an index 4 and the corresponding letter, you see it's G. But on the output, you see that it doesn't have G. So that's the important thing you want to know. The start index here, the one before the colon, is inclusive. So it's going to include this. But the number after the colon is actually exclusive. So it's not actually going to be including this 4. So technically this would be the same thing as saying going only from index 1 to index 3. So it's only stopping at index 3. It's not going to include this index 4 as part of the substring. So here we see that it stops at index 3, which is in fact corresponding to the letter I in the string. And you see it stops at I. So that's basically how substrings work. Now, to make it quick, if you wanted to print out the CS50, then we need to count up our way all the way here. But if you do all the counting for the index, the index at the letter capital C in CS50 is actually the start index 17, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And you see the index is actually at 17. So if I wanted to go through this whole word, I would need to count up the index to make sure. So 17, 18. 19, 20. But recall earlier that when we actually had this notation that the end index is exclusive. So if you want to make sure that this is also included, then we need to give 1 extra when we specify in these notations. So the last character of the string, I should say, so 0, is at index 20, right? But we need to give an extra 21 when we specify in the notation. So that's basically how it works. If I run this, we see the output is CS50 because we see here 17, that's the start index, and it's inclusive, and 18, 19, 20. So index 20 is 0, but we need to give an extra. So the 21 would be somewhere around here, but it's going to exclude the 21, so we're only going to stop at 20. So 21 minus 1 is 20, and that's why we stop at 0. So if I say do switch this to 17 to 20, you should see the output is CS5. That's basically how substrings work. That's pretty much how they work. 17, 18, 19, 20 here. To summarize it, it's basically taking a part of a string within an entire string. And to make a quick comment how it's formatted, then we do it name of variable to keep a note of how the format actually works. And this is basically how the format works. Start index, colon, end index. And recall that this is exclusive, this end index is exclusive, and the start index is inclusive. So that's pretty much how substrings work in Python. In the next video, we're going to be going over a practice problem.